Okay, so let's be real. If you're over 35, you're not new to this. You're from a generation that actually had to solve problems without just Googling the answer. But when it comes to talking about a raise, a lot of us just freeze up. Why? Well, we've kind of been taught to think of a raise as a reward, for being a good employee. But that whole way of thinking is flawed. Today, we are going to completely tear that idea down. Asking for a raise isn't about hoping for a reward, it's about executing a well-planned strategy.
So why is this one conversation so incredibly hard? It's because it kicks off this deep psychological battle inside us. We walk into that room basically looking for validation, hoping our boss will tell us we're good enough. And that mindset, it immediately puts you on the back foot, in a passive, approval-seeking role. But the whole game changes the second you realize this isn't about getting a pat on the back. It's a business proposition. You're not there to wait for a reward. You're there to take control of the story.
To get this right, we're going to follow a 4-part playbook. First up is preparation, where you'll learn to think more like a chess master and less like an anxious employee. Then we'll get into the negotiation itself and focus on how to project a sense of genuine calm. Third, we're going to unpack a pretty counterintuitive technique to make sure your arguments are rock solid. And finally, we'll hit the most important piece of the puzzle, building that unshakable mindset of knowing your own worth.
All right, let's dive into preparation. The first mistake most of us make has nothing to do with what we plan to say. It's about how we think about the entire situation. That flawed thinking is exactly what creates all the anxiety, instead of giving us a clear, actionable strategy.
This slide really shows the critical difference. Over on the left, you've got circular thinking. That's that endless hamster wheel in your brain, the what-ifs that just spin around and around, fueling your anxiety. But on the right, that's layered thinking. This is what top performers do. They don't just sit and worry, they actually map out every possible outcome and build a response for each one. See? That's not anxiety anymore, that's strategy. So how do you actually practice this layered thinking? You run mental simulations. I'm serious. Think of it like playing a game of chess against yourself. Before you even walk into that room, you've already played out the whole conversation in your head. Just look at the scenarios here. You've planned for the sorry no budget line. You have a counter move ready if their offer is too low. You've even prepared for how to react if they criticize you. By the time you walk in, you're not reacting to surprises, you're just executing a script you've already written. And that leads us to another key strategic tool, pattern recognition. Our brains are literally wired to find patterns. And guess what? Your boss is a human being. They have predictable moods, predictable rhythms. Your company runs on predictable budget cycles. So when is your boss usually in the best mood? When does the company typically approve budgets? You need to use your brain's natural ability to see these patterns to time your request for the moment it'll have the biggest impact.
So you've done your prep. It's game day. You walk into that meeting, and now the focus shifts from pure strategy to emotional control. But here's the thing, not all calm is the same. The type of calm you bring into that room is absolutely critical.
Just look at these two types on the slide. On the left, you've got the calm faker. This person looks totally composed, but inside, their heart is pounding out of their chest. That's called emotional masking, and it's exhausting. Plus, your boss can usually sense it. You want to be the strategist on the right. A strategist is genuinely calm because they've already run simulations for every worst-case scenario. To them, chaos is kind of boring. Their calm isn't a mask to hide fear. It's the natural result of being ridiculously prepared.
Now for a really powerful tool to use while you're in the room. Silence. Just like the quote says, silence is a sign of confidence. After you state the number you want, just stop talking. The natural impulse is to panic and start filling that quiet space with excuses and justifications. Don't do it. That silence isn't awkwardness. It's processing time for your boss. Holding that space shows a deep-seated confidence in your position.
Okay, you've got your strategy down, you've got your emotional control in check, but what about the exact words you're going to use? To really perfect your pitch, we're going to use a technique that might feel a little strange at first, but it is an incredibly powerful cognitive tool that top performers use all the time. And a technique is simple. You talk to yourself out loud. No, it is not a sign that you're going crazy. It's actually a sign of a highly organized mind. Thinkers from Einstein to modern-day CEOs have used this exact method to bring clarity to their thoughts. When you speak your arguments out loud, you actually engage different parts of your brain, and it helps turn a tangle of ideas into a clear, coherent case.
The scientific reason this works is something called psychological distance. As the slide explains, when you speak your thoughts, it allows you to step back and look at them objectively. You literally shift from being the emotional, nervous participant to being a clear-headed coach.
You will actually hear the weak spots in your argument, the hesitations, the phrases that just don't land right. This lets you fix your pitch before it's showtime.
And this brings us to our final and honestly most critical section, because all the strategy and all the tactics in the world are completely useless without the right foundation. This last piece isn't a tactic at all. It's a fundamental shift in your mindset about how you see your own value. Think about the two mindsets you see here. The person who needs external validation is always looking for likes, praise, and approval to feel like they're worthy. In a negotiation, that is a position of weakness. Then you have the self-sufficient person. Their sense of worth comes from inside. It doesn't go up or down based on a manager's opinion. They know their value on their own. That is the mindset of a successful negotiator.
This slide right here contains the single most important mindset shift you can possibly make. Read it. Let it sink in. You are not asking your boss to confirm your value. You are there to inform them of it. You are presenting the facts about your contribution and what its value is on the open market. This simple change in framing transforms the entire dynamic from a hopeful plea into a straightforward business transaction.
This all builds up to a final, really powerful concept: temporal agency. It's that feeling that you are the author of your career story, not just a character who is reacting to the plot twists. It means you are proactive, not reactive. When you walk into that negotiation with this mindset, you're not just an employee hoping for the best. You are the agent of your own career, and you're executing your next move.
So, you see, layered thinking, mental simulation, strategic calm, and self-sufficiency. These aren't just little tricks for a negotiation. They are psychological tools designed to put you firmly in the driver's seat. The question is no longer that fearful, what if they say no? Instead, it becomes a strategic, what is my next move?